Bonjour, hi. Welcome back to another coffee talk. For those of you who are not familiar with coffee talks, it's a series I have on this channel where every Friday I sit down with a cup of coffee. I sip on it while I talk about different topics that have been on my mind for the past week, and this week is no exception. I hope 2024 has had a good start for you so far. Personally, I'd say it's too early to tell, but so far so good, I guess. But obviously, and as always, this is not the topic of today's coffee talk. Today, we are talking about, well, it might be a little bit related, but we're talking about love and dating in 2024. Let me start off by reading a quote to you that I read this morning that inspired this week's coffee talk. I had it in the back of my mind for quite a few days, quite a few weeks, because, well, during the holidays, one of the topics that came around pretty often was relationships and my dating life and if I had a boyfriend or not, and obviously the answer was no, but that's okay, and that's specifically what we're talking about today. But first and foremost, I really wanted to read this quote to you because it really resonated with me, and I hope it might resonate with you as well. It is from the book The Pivot Year, which I started reading this morning precisely, and it's already been really good and really important to me. So here it goes. There are a lot of things you can give up on in this life, but love is not one of them. There are a lot of things you can let go of, a lot of things you're allowed to say you were wrong or a little too hopeful about. There are a lot of things you can age out of, phase through, and move on from, but love is not one of them. You have to believe in love up until the very end. Real love, true love, honest love. And that's going to be my motto for 2024. I'm not going to lie to you. I have to admit that in 2023, I had given up on love. I thought it was something for other people. I thought it was something I could never truly feel again. And I'm talking about romantic relationship more specifically because obviously I feel loved by my friends and family, but it's just not the same kind of love that I usually feel with a partner, and that's the kind of love I had given up on. And I've briefly talked about this, well, not specifically, but I've mentioned something along those lines in some previous coffee talks, the one where I talked about dating apps, the one where I talked about breakups and relationships, and some of the comments that appeared under those videos really made me think, because a lot of people related to what I had to say and to my thoughts and opinions about dating and dating apps and dating in your 20s and being content with yourself and breakups and da-da-da. But some of the comments really made me think a lot of things through. And I remember one comment specifically that said that it was very sad that as a generation and as a whole, we decided to, well, I wouldn't say decided, but we were just content with the fact that being alone might be better than being with somebody, and that fighting for somebody and fighting to be in a relationship was harder to just be alone. And that was my mindset for 2023. There's this saying in French that says you're better off alone than not well accompanied. I tried to translate it. I don't know if there's a saying in English as well, but essentially it means that you're better off alone than being with somebody who's not right for you. And I believe that firmly because I have seen too many people around me who were not well accompanied, who were not with the right people, but they just accepted it and they just decided that that was it and they settled for what they thought they deserved. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to settle for something not as great as what I wanted for myself. But unconsciously, this kind of made me slowly give up on love. And it made me think that I was better than that and that love was just not for me, and I would probably never be able to find a partner that would fill all of those things or that would tick all the boxes and that would answer all of my needs without thinking I'm a needy person. I do have standards and I do have values that are important to me, and I want them to be respected as much as I expect my future partner to have values and to stand by them and to have them respected. And obviously we need to have like common values in order for all of this to work, but to me it all seemed too complicated. So in that way, I had given up on love. I've always considered myself a pretty romantic person. I love love, and that's the problem though, because sometimes I idolize a partner. I get in this fantasy world and I make up all these stories about the person I'm crushing on, and that has never, ever been beneficial to me, because I either was disappointed with the reality or I had created this version of the person and they were not it. And it happened to me as well when somebody had made up their mind about me based off social media and based off what they thought I was and who they thought I was, and it just turned out not to be the reality, and they were disappointed and they were not as interested anymore. And that's okay, because you cannot force a relationship and you cannot force anybody to like you and to love you. But you can work through it. And that's what I wasn't willing to do, in all transparency. I used to go into dating leaning backwards and with a step back because I was just ready to be disappointed. I expected to be disappointed once again. But this just made my whole experience biased, because going into it, I was assuming it was not going to work out. So I didn't allow myself to make it work. And I didn't give myself the chance to just enjoy meeting people, because I was always on the tip of my toes and always expecting it to not work out and to have to either tell somebody I was not interested or have them, or being ready to just get the message where they told me they weren't interested anymore, because that's what I have been used to so many times that this has become the normality for me. Is that even a word? Let's make it a word if it's not a thing. Unconsciously, or maybe a little bit consciously, it created this path in my brain where it made me think that anybody I would meet, it just wouldn't work out. And so it just ruined it all for me. It ruined my whole dating experience in 2023. And that's not what I want to recreate in 2024. I'm going into 2024, especially when it comes to dating, with an open mind. And whatever happens, happens. And whatever doesn't happen, doesn't happen. But I don't want to give up on love, because, and this is going to sound very cheesy, but love is one of the most powerful things. It's one of the things that just makes you feel some type of way that happiness and sadness or fear, just they don't do it as much for me personally. So I love love. And without getting ahead of myself and being too hopeful and having all these expectations, I just want to go into it with my heart opened and having it ready for somebody to swoop me off my feet and to take my heart and hopefully not break it. But if they do break it, then so be it. It was just not meant to be, and it's going to be a lesson learned. And that's what all the relationships should be, whether that's a friend or that's a family member or that's a coworker. All the relationships you build in your life, they help you to move forward, and they help you to become the truest version of yourself and the best version of yourself, and they help you to grow as an individual, as a human being. They are part of your experience, and they are part of who you are and your history and the traces you leave behind. Wow, that was very philosophical. I never know how to say that word. I just ruined it all. It was deep. Cheers to that. I've mentioned this in the Art of Letting Go coffee talk. I'm a nostalgic person, and I have some difficulty letting go. But letting go doesn't mean that you're forgetting. That's not what this is. Letting go is just letting things happen and recognizing what they meant to you at some point and recognizing how they made you feel at some point, but also realizing that they're not serving you anymore. And this is the part I struggle with the most in relationships and situationships. Because, I don't know, I like holding on to the memories and I like holding on to what could have been, but that's just it. It's what could have been. It's not what was or what is or what will be. It's what could have been. So it's all a fantasy. It's all hypothetical. It's never going to happen and it never happened. So maybe keep that in mind when you're going into dating. And if you're like me and you're having trouble letting go of people, then just remind yourself that. And it's valid. It's valid to hold on to those memories and recognize them for what they are and all the joy that they once brought you, but they're not there anymore. So do with that information what you will. Anyway, I'm getting pretty repetitive here, so if I could sum it all up, I'd say that love is beautiful and it's powerful, and we shouldn't give up on love. If there is one thing we should not give up on, it is love. Because love it's wholesome. Love is powerful, dude, and it's great. You should try it. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I truly, 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 truly mean it. Hopefully I have made a little difference in your day today. If you would like to make a difference in mine, you know what to do. And I'm going to wish you bonne journée.